Mr. Mosseri, does Instagram advocate weight loss or plastic surgery for teenage girls under the age of 18?
Sorry, Senator, I apologize. I missed the second word in your question. Does it have a what?
Does Instagram advocate for, does it recommend weight loss or plastic surgery for girls under the age of 18?
Absolutely not. We don't recommend an eating disorder related content to people of any age.
Very glad to hear that. I beg to differ here. Leading up to this hearing, I've heard about a lot of complaints from people across Utah and elsewhere who have told me about inappropriate content available through the Explore page on Instagram, available specifically to children. And so I was encouraged to look into it myself. So I had my staff create a fictitious 13-year-old account for a fictitious 13-year-old girl. The Explore page yielded fairly benign results at first, when all we did was create the account, knowing that it was a 13-year-old girl. But Instagram also provided that same account for this fake 13-year-old that included some recommendations, a list of recommendations of accounts that we should follow, including multiple celebrities and influencers. So we followed the first count, the first account that was recommended by Instagram, which happened to be a very famous female celebrity. Now, after following that account, we went back to the Explore page, and the content quickly changed. You see, right at first, all that came up when we opened up the account were some fairly benign hairstyling videos. But that's not what we saw after we followed this account, the account that was recommended by Instagram itself. And it expanded into all sorts of stuff, including content that was full of unrealistic standards for women, including plastic surgery and commentary on women's height, content that could be detrimental to the self-image of any 13-year-old girl. If you need any kind of evidence on the kinds of harms that this can produce, you can look to the report that I recently issued through my Joint Economic Committee team, specifically on this topic last week. So, Mr. Mosseri, why did following Instagram's top recommended account for a 13-year-old girl cause our Explore page to go from showing really innocuous things like hairstyling videos to content that promotes body dysmorphia, the sexualization of women, and content otherwise unsuitable for a 13-year-old girl? What happened?
Senator, eating disorder-related content and eating disorders more broadly are a very complicated and difficult issue in society.
And they're complicated enough without a social media site recommending it.
Senator, we know that I've personally spoken to teens in multiple countries around the world that use Instagram to get support when suffering from things like eating disorders. We absolutely do not want any content that promotes eating disorders on our platform. We do our best to remove it. I believe, and I'll get back to it, the specific stat, it's roughly 5 in every 10,000 things viewed. And my responsibility as the head of Instagram is to get to that number to as close to 0 as possible. But we believe that every company, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, should be public like we are about exactly what the prevalence of important content problems are on our platform.
Right, I get that, and I can only take your word for it here. I understand what you're saying about the overall numbers. That's not how it appeared on this account. That's not how it happened at all. It was hairstyling videos and innocuous stuff one minute. The next minute, after we followed a famous female celebrity, it changed and it went dark fast. It was not 5 in 1,000 or 5 in 10,000. It was rampant. But the thing that gets me is, what changed was following this female celebrity account. And that female celebrity account was recommended to this 13-year-old girl. So why are you recommending that somebody follow a site with the understanding that by doing that, you're exposing that girl to all sorts of other things that are not suitable for any child?
Senator, I appreciate the question because it is an incredibly important and difficult space. If we recommended something that we shouldn't have, I'm accountable for that. I'm the head of Instagram. But you said a second ago you have to take my word for it, and I don't believe you should. Our first community standards enforcement report, sorry, we've been doing it for years, but this next quarter, this quarter we're in right now, is going to be independently audited by Ernst & Young, and we're committed to doing independent audits going forward.
That's great, and I've independently audited myself, and what I'm saying to you is I'll take your word for it as to the 5 and 1,000, 5 and 10,000 point. What I'm saying is it was decidedly not 5 and 1,000 or 5 and 10,000 on this page for this poor, unsuspecting, albeit fake, 13-year-old girl.
Senator,
That's a concern. Look, I'm running out of time, but I'm also running out of patience from a company that has told us over and over and over again, we're so concerned about your children. We're so concerned. We're commissioning a blue ribbon study to be done, or we're doing a review, and stuff like this is still happening. Meanwhile, the Tech Transparency Project, TDP, recently conducted another experiment. It demonstrated how minors can use their Instagram accounts to search for prescription and illicit drugs and connect with drug dealers. In fact, according to TDP, it only took 2 clicks to find drug dealers on that platform. So why are children's accounts even allowed to search for drug content to begin with, much less allowed to do so in a way that leads them to a drug dealer in 2 clicks?
Senator, accounts selling drugs or any other regulated goods are not allowed on the platform.
Apparently they are.
Senator, respectfully, I don't think you can take 1 or 2 examples and indicate that that is indicative of what happens on the platform more broadly, which is why, and I want to be clear here.
2 clicks. It only took 2 clicks.
Senator, I'm not familiar with that specific report. I'm more than happy to look into it. I do want to be clear, though, because I've been talking about the Community Standards Enforcement Report a lot. And I know it sounds like numbers. And I know behind every one of those numbers is a person who's experiencing something difficult. So I don't want to sound callous in any way. So if there's room for us to improve, I embrace that. That's why we invest more than, I believe, anybody else, $5 billion this year, over 40,000 people. That's why we believe in industry standards and industry accountability. And that's why we are calling on the entire industry, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, to come together to set industry standards that are approved by regulators, like here in the US, in order to make the internet more safer for not only kids online, but for everyone.
There's a scene from the movie Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail. There's a big fight. Somebody concludes the discussion by saying, look, let's not bicker and argue about who killed who here. I think we have to reach the point where we realize some real bad stuff is happening. And you're the new tobacco, whether you like it or not, and you've got to stop selling the tobacco, in quotation marks, to kids. Don't let them have it. Don't give it to them. Thank you.